What's up, guys? Washed up Meathead tricep tear update? Yeah, I just go with that. My last washed up Meathead video was last Thursday, and it was my bench training for that day. I mentioned that I tore my tricep, and right now I'm about 30 days post tricep tear. If I can figure out how to edit the picture in here, I'll put it in here. But from the washed up Meathead tip series, the way I went about trying to come back from this was to restore range of motion, which is a given. Find a physical therapist, doctor, somebody to help you with that. Once I get that, it's just basic progressive overload, Thursday and Sunday, with different exercises to kind of work on different aspects of the lift. Right now, the lockout feels ahead of what it feels like off of the bottom. So when I tore this, it swelled bad throughout the whole arm, but also in my pec as well, in my lat. So just all down the side, all over the place. So my pec still got a little bit of swelling in there. It doesn't feel like I would like it to feel, even with all the previous injuries that I've had in there. So that's why I selected a reverse band press for today, was to kind of deload it just a little bit. So this band setup is taking off about 90, we'll just say 100 pounds at the bottom, not really a whole lot at the top. So that's allowed me to still get the repetitions that I'm looking for in this day, with also working on maintaining the best technique I possibly can to make sure my arm's not dragging because of the injury. The other thing that you'll notice is I put the croc locks on the inside of the collar. I have a tendency before this injury to shift a little bit when I bench, just because the shoulder needs replaced. That's, like I said, I'm a washed up meathead. So when I put those in there, the plates are not going to end up hitting the uprights if I do shift at all. So that's the update for here is why I'm doing this exercise. I'll stop this and do a sat, maybe film it, we'll see. As I'm catching my breath right here, that last set was exactly why I wanted to do this exercise, because I'm trying to figure out if my right tricep is going to trail or not, and I need a little bit heavier weight at that lockout to be able to know that. So like I said, this doesn't do a whole lot of help at the top, but it felt like it might have been trailing on the 6th rep, which is why I didn't do the 7th, because it felt like it was going to trail even more. But I was also, as I talked earlier about why the croc locks are on there, I was also starting to shift out a little bit because of the shoulder. So I really don't know if the tricep is going to be a bigger problem in the long term right now, but I do know enough based on how that feels to know that it is trailing a little bit. So I need to back off the heavier stuff and bring it back down, start work on more of the deliberate full range of motion with more conscious effort and locking the arm out completely. Because if this is a neural thing, I have to address it now instead of waiting until later when I become stronger, because it's going to become even a bigger issue and harder to correct. So this is more what I would call a test to be able to see where it is compared to real training, even though it's still real training. I've been avoiding this one until my tricep got better, because what this does for me is it takes the lats out of it, puts more of the emphasis on my triceps. And so I wanted my tricep strength to at least be at somewhat of a base, but then this is going to be an exercise I'm going to be using a lot moving forward to build that up. I'm going to take a moderately close grip. Being deeper into the training session is when we'll do the triples and the singles because I'm more fatigued. So in a way, it's actually less stress than working up heavier from the very beginning, especially coming back from an injury. As I get deeper into the training session, the more direct I'm going to start hitting the triceps. This exercise here is a modified JM press using a cambered bar. So if you watch what I'm doing here, I'm going to drive my thumbs up into the camber, which changes the wrist angle a little bit, which allows it to hit the inside, the longer head of the tricep the way that I want to. Then I'm just going to itch it a little bit further down each time. The one thing I do need to work on though is keeping my head on the bench. I have a tendency to lift it up. It's neither right nor bad, but for the way that I'm training my bench to move forward, I'm going to have to keep it down for what my longer term objectives are there for the bench. So digging the thumbs up into the camber and then pressing out palms first. But with this one here, it's a 10-pound weight jump from what I used last week and 20 pounds over the week before. So just progressive overload, right? I'm gonna do 8 sets of 8 with about 30 seconds rest in between. No, I'm not gonna film all those. I'll film one set and then move on to the next exercise. Now with each set, and this is important, I forgot to mention this, I'm gonna try to leave about 3 reps in each set. So call them reps in reserve, RPE, whatever you wanna call that. So whatever tempo I'm gonna use is gonna be based upon that. So in the earlier sets, we use a slower tempo, tighter contraction, more stretch. As I begin to fatigue, I'll start to pick the tempo up just to be able to get the reps in towards the later ones. This is one of the movements I've been doing every day since this shit started, just working the range of motion. So I started with like a 2.5-pound plate and they just progress very slowly. Up over the weeks now, I'm taking it down to just the 2 days that I train pressing movements. So I'm still keeping the weight light and the tempo slow to make sure that I'm contracting what I want to contract, which is the tricep, and just working on the biggest range of motion I can get with it. I use the fat grips because I feel it way more in my triceps. The fatter the grip is. Again, the focus is on controlled tempo. See if I can do that, all fucking day long. Biggest range I can get. Full contraction until it's about ready to fail, and then I'll chop it. And just do as many partials as I can until I go to failure. And then the same thing with the other arm. With this, I've been doing, today I'm gonna end up doing 6 sets. So it's a higher volume than normal. And as I progress and keep progressing up, my training weight on this is around 30 pounds. So I still got a ways to go. Probably 6 or 7 more sessions. So I'm using the same exercises, I guess is what I should have spelled out, except for the main movement. the same exercises as I'm coming back from this, using, as I said earlier, just old school progressive overload, just small jumps over a longer period of time, making sure the tempo's under control and that I'm actually contracting and using what I should use. So if that's the washed up meathead tip, overreaching with this last couple of videos, that's what it is when you're fucked up, you know, back it down, start with weights that are really, really light, get the range of motion back, and then slowly bring it back. Just because it feels good doesn't mean you jump 50, 60, 100 pounds like that. Slowly bring it back, unless it's max effort work, which is a different discussion. Here's the deal, guys. I'm about 25 sets into this right now and probably have another 20 to go. Thursday is my higher volume day. I don't want to film all that shit. I want to turn the music up and just get the volume and get the reps in. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip the camera over and just walk through here, give like a real quick tour and explain what some of this shit is. I think you guys will like it a little bit, get a kick out of it. All right, as I mentioned, I have the torn triceps, so I've been doing band tricep push downs every day. So that's been set up like this for weeks because of that. It's just a clusterfuck mess of a bunch of shit. A belt puller. And in the chalk box, we got the dark side and the void. Void's more for the volume. That's dark side's more for the heavy max effort type shit. Push-up handles. I don't think we sell those, but I use those for static holds at the end of the training session. Static holds for the push-ups. Water bottles. It's just like fake sweat, right? You just spray it on you. My clock, which I used for the triceps earlier when I said there's 30 seconds rest. So I did that, then I paced back and forth staring at this and then go back there again. The bamboo bar with the primal bells, that's also been set up for about 3 weeks because I used that for static ISO holds at the end of the training session as well. My wrist wraps, what's some other washed up meathead shit? I don't fucking do that. I think it's my kid. My kid does that. The bars, right? Fucking bars. That's it. I'm done, man. I'm gonna do some reps. See ya.